Hi, I'm Bill. I wanted to make this video to raise awareness about Lyme disease, which I have chronic Lyme disease. And so the purpose of this video is to just explain a lot about what Lyme disease is, and to raise awareness and to just tell you my story. I think I'll just start off this first video with just sort of telling you about myself and tell you my whole story. And so I'm Bill. I'm from Pennsylvania. I have chronic Lyme disease, and the one thing that I'll tell you about Lyme disease is that it's a complicated thing. It's not just one bacteria. There's a multitude of bacteria that you can get from a tick bite. That's the primary way that Lyme disease is transferred. It can be other things besides tick bites, but I'll probably get into that into another video. I just wanted to kind of just tell you my story in this video and not get into too much technical things about Lyme disease and co-infections and things like that. So I grew up in Pennsylvania, being in the outdoors a lot, doing lots of camping and fishing and hunting and hiking and things like that, and never really knew a whole lot about Lyme disease. I'd heard about people getting it, maybe not so much around this area. Used to be a lot of it up around Connecticut, which is why it's called Lyme disease. It originated in Lyme, Connecticut, where there was a number of youth, young kids, that developed a arthritis. I think it was like a juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, and a whole lot of them in one town there got it. And it was later identified as Lyme disease. And like I said, I don't want to get too much technical about Lyme disease in this, but I just wanted to explain what that is and how it wasn't really that prevalent around Pennsylvania that I know of until just recent years, the last maybe several years. It's really increased in Pennsylvania. And I first knew that I had it about a year and a half ago. I had developed a lot of strange symptoms. I had a lot of night sweats, dizziness, a lot of sleep problems, a lot of insomnia and chronic fatigue. And I went to numerous doctors, for sleep doctors, general doctor, you name it. And nobody could really figure out what was wrong with me. I went for all kinds of tests. I went for blood tests other than Lyme, stress test with all the dizziness. I thought maybe I had something going on with my heart or something with my blood sugar or diabetes. I really didn't know what was going on. The doctors could never really tell me after a whole lot of blood tests and a whole lot of tests, stress test, EKG, all that kind of stuff. They could never, they said my heart looked good, which was a good thing to find out, and that I didn't have diabetes or blood sugar problems or anything like that. But they really could not tell me what was going on. So that went on for a while, and then I'd say after a few months it sort of tapered off, but it never really went away. I still had the almost daily dizziness and fatigue, and the fatigue got really worse, to the point where I was going to sleep doctors trying to figure out if that was causing the sleep. And I do have sleep apnea. So they tried a new machine, increased pressure, and I still kept having chronic fatigue. So that all started about almost 2 years ago now. It was in May that I really started having those sweats and dizziness and fatigue. And this past May in 2016, I was out in the woods, and another thing I like to do, being an outdoorsman, I like to look for wild mushrooms, morels in Pennsylvania. And I was out doing that again this May. That's a hint. And I got ticks on me. And one of them I found on my stomach, well, probably about 2 days after I'd been out in the woods. And he was in pretty deep. So I got nervous and went to the doctor after I got him out. And asked him if this could be a problem. I was nervous about Lyme disease because I'd heard about it being increasing in prevalence around this area. So he said, no, it's too soon to test for it. It takes several weeks for that to show up on a test. They test for antibodies for the Lyme disease for your system to produce antibodies against it. So that takes some time, he said. He said, we'll test you, but you're going to have to wait. He said, watch out for these symptoms, and he gave me a list of symptoms. He said, watch out for the bullseye rash, which I didn't have yet at that point, because I had just gotten bit, just found the tick the day before. He said, watch out for these symptoms. I said, hey, doc, that's all the symptoms I've had for just the last year, that nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. He said, oh, okay. Well, let's send you for a test. And it came back positive that I had Lyme, which is Borrelia burgdorferi, which is the bacteria that's primarily responsible for Lyme. There's a whole host of other ones that you can get, but I'll get into that in another time. So anyhow, he said, yes, you have it, and put me on the standard 3 weeks of doxycycline that most family practitioners do whenever somebody tests positive for Lyme. And I did that, and started feeling a little better towards the end of that 3 weeks of the antibiotics, the doxycycline. It only took about a week after I was done with the antibiotics that it came back full force. It came back with a vengeance. So I went back to the doctor, and he said, well, we'll try 30 days of doxycycline. So we did that. Same thing. I maybe had a little window there where I felt a little better, a little relief, and then it came back worse than ever. And he pretty much told me what most family doctors will tell you, that 30 days of antibiotics should treat the Lyme disease. It should get rid of it. But what we think happened was I actually had it for over a year, so at that point it had become chronic. It was not just early stage Lyme, it was chronic Lyme. So the 30 days of antibiotics are not enough to take care of that. So since then I have gone to a Lyme literate doctor, which I'll get into that in another video too. I don't want to make this too long. I have been through a lot of different treatments, and again I'll get into that in another video. I just wanted to kind of tell you my story and tell you where I'm at, and kind of introduce myself to you. I don't know how many videos like this I'll make. As I said, I want this to just be something that raises awareness. I want to help people maybe not go through all the things that I've gone through. So that's my primary reason for doing this, is to really help people. If there's anybody else out there that's struggling with this, I can try my best to help you in any way I can with what I've learned through all this, and to also make people aware of what they should do to avoid getting Lyme disease. And another thing I will say right now, it's a big beef of mine. When people say Lyme's disease, I cringe, because it's not named after a person. It's named from the town Lyme, Connecticut, which used to be the hot spot where they think most of it started. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. So anyhow, I just wanted to make this little video for you, and I will think about whatever else I'm going to try to tell you. And if you have any questions or want me to talk about anything in particular, just let me know in the comments, and we'll do our best to figure this all out together. We can learn from each other and help each other. Thank you.